What's up and welcome to the channel. My name is Heckshot and thank you guys for joining us for our review on the new Ruger LCP2 gun that really piqued my interest. And this gun, the original one, was out for a long time, never had any interest. I picked it up a couple times in a gun shop and just really didn't want anything to do with it. Ruger's gone back to the table, done some changes, and it's piqued my interest. And hopefully you guys will enjoy it. If you're looking at one, we're going to tell you everything we know about it, pros and cons, shooting out of the box, what it comes with, how it carries, everything you need to know, hopefully in this one video, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. We're of course going to talk about some of the changes that they've made, and let's go ahead and get right into it. Of course, you get a cardboard box, nothing special there. Open it up and you're going to get the gun. All right, and you can see looks pretty different from the original one for sure. Comes with a pocket holster right from the factory. Ruger likes to send the little pouches, but this time they actually give you something you can really use, so you can carry it right out of the gate. Of course, it doesn't come with ammo. We're running the SIG 90 grain hollow points through it, and paperwork, manual, lock, all that good stuff. And it comes with one 6-round magazine. All right, so you see right there, and then you have your extended pinky base plate. Really, it's really not even a pinky base plate unless you have super small hands. You can tell just how small this gun actually is. It's more of an extension, so you can keep your third finger actually on the gun, to be honest with you. I can't see anybody getting their pinky on that. But it also does come with the little flat base plate as well. So if you prefer to carry it with that, you have that option. So let's go ahead and get this box out of the way, and let's talk about the gun. Obviously, this is a deep concealment type of gun. It's not a range gun or anything like that. For people that are, sensitive maybe to weight, or women that want to carry, this is Miss Heckshot's, carry gun now. And of course, we will, touch on that a little bit later. Let's go ahead and talk about the specs here really quick, and then we'll talk about some of these features that have changed. In overall length, 5.1 inches. All right, so pretty short. 3.7 inches tall. I believe that's with the flat base plate. So you'll add a little bit extra with that pinky extension. Like I said, 6-round magazine plus one in the pipe. So you have a total of 7 rounds. The magazines for these are around 20, 25 bucks, something like that. And the original LCP mags will work, but they won't lock the slide back on the last round. So just keep that in mind. The extended, I think there's even the extended 7-round magazines. They will not work in this gun at all. The barrel length, 2.7 inches, and it is a polymer gun, but Ruger actually uses a glass-filled nylon process. It's supposed to be, really tough, and that's one thing that, Ruger's known for. They're known for rugged, reliable type of guns, so it does work, obviously. MSRP is $349. We picked it up for $288 and then a $20 transfer fee. So, we're in it for $308. Kind of on the more expensive end, but then again, it's new and we wanted to get it for a review. So that's kind of the price you pay. The slide and barrel assembly, they're all blued, and they are alloy. So if you're wondering about the materials on that. So overall weight, empty, 10.6 ounces. So super light, for sure. Up front, obviously, you don't have a spot for a light or a laser or anything like that, but I believe there are trigger guard mounts for the old one that will give you a light or a laser option. The aftermarket will catch up with this, I'm sure. Front cocking serrations now on the new one. Rears, of course. Your sights, this is like 2 steps forward with some of the changes they made, but definitely 1 step back with the sights. They're, again, like the original ones, milled into the slide. They had the LCP custom with the red anodized trigger. Why they decided to do that with that red trigger, I have no idea. But anyways, on that LCP Custom, it actually came with decent sights on it. With this one, they opted to do the milled out sights again, but you know, again, it's an up close and dirty type of gun, so you know, I guess they didn't feel that was necessary. I don't know. The grip is probably the biggest redesign, along with the trigger. You have these little aggressive type of bumps here all the way down in the front right there and on the back strap. So it's going to give you a much better purchase as opposed to the slippery type of texture that's on the original LCP for sure. So we will talk about the trigger after the shooting part of the review. I want you guys to see how this actually functions, and then we'll talk about that. Coming to the other side, of course, nothing is ambi on this gun. So left-handed shooters, if that, you know, bugs you, may be something to consider. And from what I can see, your magazine button is not reversible either. So that is something to keep in mind there. All right, let me go ahead and show you in comparison, you know, how this gun looks to the closest thing I have to show you guys. The LC9S Pro, great gun. We've reviewed it in the past, and you can see the LC9S Pro is not a big gun, but it looks big compared to the LCP. This thing is tiny, 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 tiny. The width is like 0.75, so very, very short type of gun, very small pocket type of gun for sure. And then check out the length there, and of course this is what you're trying to conceal. So if you're somebody that absolutely has to have the smallest type of gun, you know, this may be your option for sure. All the way around, just a really tiny gun. All right, let me show you how this, move that out of the way. Let me show you how it breaks down here really quick. You're gonna wanna pull the magazine, of course, rack the slide, and that's one thing about the smaller guns is a lot of the times you'll get these guns and the springs are really, really stiff. In this gun, it's actually pretty easy to rack the slide back, surprisingly. So if you have weaker hands or whatever, I don't see having much of an issue with this one. But what you want to do, pull the trigger, and then you're just going to pull this pin out. This is something Ruger likes to do. Just going to pull it out with a little screwdriver or whatever you have. Pull that out there. Slide's going to come off, and you can see a miniature version of the guns we do. Your little guide rod, it is steel. And then you do have two springs, so it is a dual guide rod, but it's not a captive or anything. And we'll pull the little 2.7-inch barrel out of there. Of course, it's in 380. If you don't know that already, you can see it's super dirty. We did quite a bit of shooting with this one. Obviously, we want to be able to give you guys some good feedback. Now, what they did with the trigger here is, of course, you have your hammer, but it's no longer that long double action trigger pull. It actually sit down in there like that, and then you just really, I mean, you just cock the hammer back just a little bit, and then it's going to strike your firing pin right in there. So a pretty neat design. Let's go ahead and put it back together here really quick. Ruger has an obsession with pins instead of just normal takedown type of procedures, but this one is not too bad. You can see your guide rails right there. This one is not too bad though. They just like doing pins. I don't know what it is. So with the takedown pin, you're going to want to put it in at an angle, and then you're going to want to put it in there. You got to kind of play with it a little bit. You're going to want to push it down because you have a little detent spring or something right there. So you push it down at an angle, and then it's going to slide in there. Pull back on the slide just a little bit and make it a little bit easier. And then boom, there you go. And we are good. All right, so we got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and do some shooting, and then we will come back, tell you guys how it carries, how it shoots. We'll show you the trigger pull and weight, and we will do pros and cons.
Running.
So small. We moved up a little bit closer. We're about 7 yards now. So let's see how it does within 7 yards. So really, you know, obviously this gun is not a target gun. All right, it's just not. It's one of those guns where you definitely want to take it out. You want to practice before you carry with it. That's pretty much all guns, but it's not really fun to shoot, and it's really designed for deep concealment. Women, Mrs. Headshot, she loves carrying this thing because of its small size. I would definitely recommend getting another magazine. If she decides to keep it, we will definitely do that. But for deep concealment, it's great. Up close and dirty, you know, that's perfectly acceptable, I feel. It's just not a lot of fun to shoot. You know, you don't have anything as far as, you know, nothing really to mention as far as sights. There's nothing to write home about these, but they do a good enough job of keeping you on target, so that way you can be accurate with it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that can be much more accurate than what we're showing here, but it's just a matter of getting the technique down and learning how to hold it and, you know, all that kind of stuff. It is a little bit different when you get into guns this small, but overall, for what it is, I think it does a really great job. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. As you can see, the little gun is actually a pretty decent shooter. Let's go ahead and show you one of the bigger improvements on the gun, and then I'll show you the actual weight. On this one, you have a little dingus in the trigger, so if for whatever reason you do not pull it in the middle, it will not go bang. Pretty standard, but let me show you how this looks. You're going to hit a very defined wall right here, no mistaking it. A little bit of creep, and then the break, reset, right there, and then that's all the way out. So they actually did a very good job improving the trigger and making it shootable. And you can tell back here, there's your little hammer right there. You'll see it'll cock it back just a little bit and then hit that firing pin. So definitely an upgrade. And one thing that I've noticed with Ruger is since the LC9S Pro, it seems like everything has changed as far as the way they approach guns and designs and triggers and things like that. Manual safeties and all that kind of stuff. They've, you know, kind of trusted the shooter market, if you will, to, you know, hey, we can carry a gun without a safety. It's okay. We are big boys and girls. We can do that. We can handle a gun with a good trigger and all these kinds of things, you know. So they're definitely making some good improvements, I feel, as far as that. Also, no magazine disconnect. So as you can see, I'm pulling the trigger right there. It will fire with a without the magazine, so that is definitely a good thing as well. Let me show you the weight, and we'll talk about how it actually shot. See if we can get this thing lined up here. 5 pounds, 15 ounces. £6 pounds, 6 ounces. Pull it one more time for a good measure here. £5, 14 ounces. So right in that 6 pound range, seems to be pretty consistent. As far as shooting the gun, this is where it, you know, you started to really tell that this is truly a pocket pistol. So one thing about it, whenever you actually go to fire, you're trying to hold on to it, get a good grip, and the back of my hand actually started to hurt. You know, just trying to hold on to the thing. You know, it's not like I had a ton of recoil or anything like that. It just is uncomfortable in a way to try to just, you know, get it comfortable in your hand, if that makes any sense at all. Mrs. Headshot was having a problem as well. Her hand was starting to hurt up in here. Just trying to just find a comfortable way to hold it. The drawback of these types of guns kind of showed its ugly head, because it really is truly an up close, dirty, you know, type of self-defense gun. And it may work for a lot of people, but it's not something you're going to want to go to the range and call your buddies and say, dude, I want to shoot my LCP too. This thing is amazing. I just don't see a lot of people doing that. Obviously, you want to put rounds through it. You want to make sure that you are very good with this gun before you carry it. But just keep in mind, you know, getting a comfortable grip and being able to hold it and all that kind of stuff may take a little bit of work to get used to. It's just one of those things. Smaller gun, a lot less to hold on to. The grip texture actually did a decent job though, keeping the gun in your hand. It didn't feel like it wanted to come out of my hand or, you know, anything like that. It's a pocket pistol. I mean, that's what they're designed to do, you know, just be very comfortable, very concealable, and all that. Speaking of carry, this, like I said, Mrs. Hexshot has been carrying this gun now for a few weeks, and she really likes the way it carries. She was, you know, kind of disappointed after shooting it. The Shield is a gun that she's been carrying now for a couple of years, and in comparison, as far as shooting, the Shield she loves 100 times better than this, but it's so small that she can actually carry this on her every single day. Doesn't have to worry about printing or anything like that. If she decides to keep it, I don't know. I still don't know that she has decided that yet, but if she does, she will definitely get another magazine, because, you know, you only have 6 rounds, and carrying a spare magazine is something we're definitely advocates for anyways. So that's something she'll have to pick up if she decides to actually keep it. So we showed you the features, the new features of the gun. We showed you how it's shot, the trigger, and all that good stuff. One thing about it as well, every time it did lock back on the last round, slide stop and everything seems to work pretty well there. It's not too small where you actually can't, you know, use it. So that is a good thing. And, you know, like I said, all the rounds, you know, fed just nicely. It didn't have any kind of jams, any kind of hiccups. We were running the Cellar and Belliot, or, you know, SMB. We'll just call it SMB. I believe they're 90 grain full metal jacket rounds, or 95 grain full metal jacket. And then we did run some of the SIG hollow points through it, and it fed everything just fine. So that was definitely good to see for sure. So let's go ahead and talk about the pros and cons on this little guy, and then we will end the video out. First pro is the grip texturing. Does a great job, feels much different than the original one. It doesn't feel like it wants to jump out of your hand. So, you know, that's something I really like. When a company has a good grip texture and it feels good in your hand, it doesn't feel like it wants to jump out. That's a good thing for sure. The trigger on it is a much needed improvement. It's one of the things that drew me to this one and kept me away from the other one. They sold a buttload of the original LCPs. I mean, we've talked to, you know, so many people, so many of you guys have said that you carry them, you like them, and that's fine. But this one and what they've done, you know, drew me to this one and made me want to buy it for sure. The slide on a small gun like this being so easy to rack. Front cocking serrations, if you want to do your press checks, you know, that'll work just fine. They actually bite into your hand really good, to be honest with you. So you can use those, but the slide is easy to manipulate. The gun in general, you know, for a small gun, it's actually pretty easy. The magazine button is responsive. Those magazines just pop right out there. You know, so as far as working the gun and all that kind of stuff, there is no problem there. One thing I do notice sometimes with the magazines, they'll hang up about right there, and you just gotta, you know, just pop them into place. How it carries, I feel that this is a gun that a lot of people would actually carry for sure, because of its small size and all of that good stuff. And the magazines load super easily too. I mean, just loading these things up, again, a lot of the times, even with bigger guns, you know, loading the magazines can be a struggle. With this gun, not so much at all. Very easy to load. So, you know, for a small gun, I feel they did their homework pretty well there. There are some cons. Hurts to shoot whenever you're trying to get a good grip on it, a grip that's comfortable. It can definitely, it started to bother me back here, like I said. So it is not a fun gun to shoot. So keep that in mind. At least for us, it wasn't. The sights. Why? Why did they do this? You know, they had a decent set of sights on the LCP Custom. You know, take those, incorporate those into your new design. It just seems like such a backwards type of move. I don't get it. Of course, I didn't spend the money to invest to produce these things, so I can't say much on that, but come on, man. You know, get a decent set of sights. It's not going to make it that much different in size, you know. I mean, the chances of snagging up, I can see it, but it's a con. It's just a con. And then one mag. Again, this is something that I have criticized Ruger over the LC9S. I know they're at a decent price. I know it's to keep prices down and all this kind of stuff, but 2 mags should be mandatory when you sell a gun. It's an extra 20-25 bucks. Not a huge deal, but still, I'd rather pay the money right then and there and just get another magazine in the box anyways. So there are some pros, there are some cons, like with every gun, but I would say overall, for what this gun is, up close and dirty, deep concealment, pocket carry, Mrs. Hexshot has actually been carrying this thing inside the waistband like that, because this grip texture right here actually does a good enough job, creates enough friction in your waistband where you can actually pull this thing out. This stays behind every time, so you could even use it like that. That's the way she's been running it, and she really does like that. Good carry gun, decent shooter, not something you want to put a couple hundred rounds through each and every time you go to the range, but not too bad at all. I think for 300 bucks, if you need a really, really small pocket type of gun, I would not overlook the LCP2. Great job, Ruger. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.